Hey, congratulations. Welcome to Step 6 closing day. This is by far the most exciting day of the real estate transaction. This is the day that we're going to go to closing. You're going to sign all your documents. It's a very, very happy day for the buyer. So congratulations. You've gone through a lot and now you've got to buy a home. But before we get there, there's a few things you need to know. 1 business days prior to closing, you are going to receive from the lender a closing disclosure. The closing disclosure simply states to you all the costs that you have in closing a real estate transaction. Now, when you are buying a home, to give you an overview of what those costs are, as a buyer, first year's taxes, first year's homeowner's insurance, you have lender fees that you have to pay up front. Now, lender fees do vary depending on the type of loan you're doing and the lender you are using. A rough estimate of lender fees, 2% of selling price. And lastly, whatever you're putting down. So maybe you're putting 3% down, 5% down, 20% down, whatever it is. Your down payment is on top of your closing cost, okay? So once we have the closing costs, you will need to either send a cashier's check or bring the one to closing or wire the funds. In most cases, most lenders want you to wire the funds. We want to have funds in place prior to closing. There will be wiring instructions provided to you by the lender. They are very specific in how they want you to handle this because there is a thing called wire fraud, and once in a while this happens. And if someone commits wire fraud on you, there is no way for any of us to get your money back. So the last thing on earth we want to see happen is wire fraud. So please pay specific attention to the wiring instructions. If you need help with it, I'm here to help. So moving on from that, final walkthrough. We are going to do within 48 hours of closing what's called the final walkthrough. You haven't seen the home in most cases since the home inspection. So we're just going to put our eyeballs on the home one more time, make sure there isn't any damage that we didn't, see before, make sure, Holden gets punched in the wall and the home still looks good. They haven't soiled all the carpets, things like that. We just want to make sure the home is in reasonable condition, which 99% of the time it is, okay? Utilities. Remember, we have to put utilities in your name. If you're getting keys at closing, we do it for that day. If you're giving occupancy to the seller, then we do it for the day you're going to get the keys. But we don't have to do it immediately if you're giving occupancy. But if you are getting keys at closing, we need to put gas in your name. We need to put electric in your name. There needs to be what's called a final water read. So I remind the seller's agent, hey, we need to get the water read. So if you're in a community that has community water, there's a final water read that gets done. So we have to make sure things like that are taken care of. Lastly, of course, you're going to want to start forwarding your mail to your new address. So you don't want to forget to do that. So again, these are all just little handy tips that we give you for closing day. Lastly, this. You now own a home. Congratulations. Maybe you already owned a home at one time, but maybe this is your first home. So if it's your first home, it's a very exciting day. There's a lot that goes into closing day, but truly the best thing about it is just the sheer excitement you're going to have about owning your new home and getting on with your life in this new, beautiful place that you just bought. So if you ever need anything, if you need help, if you have just general questions, always feel free to reach out.